Now then, how you doing? So this is a shout out to my man MasterTemple.
On time. Now then, guys, welcome back to Painting with MasterTemple. We're going to do a very special painting today. Look at this. This is Leeds Minster, and it's a wedding gift for my old buddy, my old mucker, Danny, and his wife-to-be, Sophie. Well, by the time you see this, they'll be happily married. Let me bring you up to the canvas and show you what we've got done already. So what I've got done already on this canvas is I've sketched in an intricate detail of Leeds Minster. Okay, just there, just with pencil. And up here is dry at the moment. We're going to coat this with linseed oil and titanium white mixed, about 50-50. Coat the whole top half of the canvas so we can blend some sky. Down here is dry. We need this to be dry so when we can put his hand on the canvas to paint some of this intricate detail. Okay, so I'm just going to coat this part now in a very thin layer of the liquid white. But there we go. What we've got is a little bit of liquid white all over the canvas, just where the sky is going to be. So with a touch of red, blue and some titanium white, nice little purpley blue colour for the sky. Start up here and just put this in all the way across the top to start with, and then get lighter towards the Minster and the church. So all I'm doing now is just blending the sky together. We want it lighter at the base than what we do up at the top. That's what we get naturally in a landscape, isn't it? So why am I painting Leeds Minster? It's such a tight painting and something that I wouldn't normally do. Okay, I've done similar things before, painted churches and castles. But however, I got married. I got invited to the wedding of Danny and Sophie, my good friend Danny, and I've known Danny since for about 30 years or so. And yeah, we got invited to the wedding, and then the church painting went up on my channel of me painting a church, and he got in contact with me and he says, "Would you mind painting the place where I'm getting married, which is Leeds Minster?" And I said, "I tell you what, I'll paint it for you as a wedding gift. So we've got to make it really special for this." Now you might know Danny from his channel, Rate My Takeaway. It's pretty popular, and Danny and Sophie are basically known as Mr. and Mrs. Yorkshire, the cracking people. So so this one's for you guys. There we go. So that's the sky all in place, or the blues in place. Go into some white paint just there, like that, just a bit of white. And I'm going to put just a tinkering of a little cloud or two. Don't want much. It's going to be for the wedding, so we don't want a big cloudy grey sky on Yorkshire now, do we? Just there, just a little floatery thing, just to break the blue up. Really, and then we might put another one somewhere down here as well, just another something or other there like that. And then again we can come back, blend the underside of this to give us a nice cloudy effect. So what I've done is used a bit of artistic license. Now there is the city of Leeds behind the Minster, and we don't really want to paint skyscrapers and things like that in the background. So what I've done is just basically taken a little bit of the same colour as the sky and just put in some of the hills, some of the mountains in the background, the Yorkshire moors and things like that, just in there. Just very gently put them in. And then what we're going to do is just take the blender brush again and just blend that top edge away. Just smooth it out, and that'll give the distance effect. It'll give it like it looks pretty far away. We've got a nice sharp edge on there. It will bring the hills and the mountains forward, and we don't want that. We want it far away. We even add a little bit of white, tap a bit of white down in there, pale it off a little bit more, just like that. Blender brush, and just go into a touch of some of this green colours that I had mixed up from from yesterday's painting, which you'll have seen by now. It's the Weeping Willow, and if you haven't, go check it out. Now I'll just put them to one side. So what I'm going to do is just put a couple of touches of something there. I don't want too strong, just like that. Just a bit of something as a bit of background material. Just there, like. What I've done is I've mixed up several different piles of browns and you know, yellows, different colours to match the sandstone and the brickwork of the Minster. So I've got a little reference photograph off to the side. So I'm going to start off with this darker, well, it's like a really pale dark brown. I don't even know the colour really. It's just a browny sandstony colour, and I'm just going to start off up here and just apply a little bit, just like that, to these spires, just up there like that. Now we'll come back in and obviously add more colour as we go, and this is going to be delicate work for the best part of an hour or two, maybe even longer. This is why you need it dry down here. I will creep into the blue sky, I'm sure, at some point with my hand, but we can fix that as we go. So yeah, even the sky's in place. It's not fully locked in and set because we can change it. We may add some more things depending on how the composition goes. Varying the colours as we go. So I'm still blocking some colour. I worked a little bit more on the bell tower, so I'll just put a little bit of colour just down here. Just vary the colours. We're going to have some little zigzaggy, I don't know what they call them, little things up there. You know, the decorative gothic bits and pieces. But we'll just again change the flavour. So when we put the detail on top, all this stonework will come alive and pop. Get some down there, just around the window. I'm using a very stiff little micro filbert brush to really scrub the paint into the fabric. There we go. So this part of the project is very, very tight. You know, obviously the masonry work on the cathedral, but I just want you to have a look at all these different colours. So we've got pure yellow ochre, and we've got chromium yellow there, we've got Van Dyke brown, we've got burnt umbers and siennas up there, but we've mixed them all together with a bit of black as well thrown in there, and occasionally a little bit of reds and crimsons and whites, and we've got all this different stonework colour, so we can just dip into different colours, and don't clean the brush either, just wipe it out on the palette and just pick up another little colour like so, and the colours will carry on throughout the painting, throughout the brickwork on the cathedral, on the Minster. It does get quite tight, this work, and does take a while. And what we've got up against this window is a little bit of masonry work, which I think maybe like a crown line. I'm not too sure. I can't remember. And the detail on the photograph is not giving anything out. So we just want to just apply a little bit of colour just there, just to give an indication of some stonework. Just there, around the window, like that, and then the deep shadow parts, we can pop some of this darker colour in as well. Well, most of the bell tower is now in place. I still got to put the flagpole on the top and the clock face. I've just left black. Well, I've actually painted the white part of the clock face in there. I'm going to put the actual hands on the actual time of the wedding, but we're going to paint this now. This is dry canvas under there. This is the main window on the tower. And I've just taken a bit of blue, white, and black. This is a bit of Prussian blue, black and white. Now I'm gonna carefully scrub this in with this little tiny filbert brush, or round brush, this little round brush, and I'm just gonna scrub it in, just so we get a nice dry layer for when we put the window panes and mullions on, and also a little bit of stained glass in there as well. So blue glass is in place. Now what I'm going to do now is I'm going to take a tiny bit of this tissue and just push it onto the window. Be very careful not to touch any other part of the bell tower. Just push it onto the window and there, gently push down just to take out some of the excess oil that's on there. Okay, so we've got basically the same colour as the church. pull that straight down there like that. Okay, 2 halves of the window, and I'm going to split those into 2 again, from what I can see. Like that. There. Like so. There. Right, now we can come back with another colour, put that on top, and we've got to fathom out where the decorative arches are. With the window mullions in place and a bit of blue on there, you can see I've put different colours of the stonework in place on top of the blue glass. All I'm doing is just very carefully and very gently just put a little touches of crimson in. Okay, just wipe the brush clean, and I'm going to grab a little bit of viridian green. Okay, I don't want too much. Here and there. You won't be able to see much of this, but we just want some indications that there is some staining of this glass, and we don't know what religious figures these will be, but they're up there. Just a little bit more tight action down there, and I've just completed the right wing of the minster. Now we're going to start on the left wing now, but I just want to draw your attention to a little bit of perspective that I've got a slight issue with. I drew the original sketch that you saw at the beginning of the video, and it seems to be going upwards there. Now I know perspective's really weird here. It is slightly bigger here than it is down there, because we're looking at a part where the minster's going away, but I really do need to work on this area here to bring it into line. I painted that earlier on just to give us a little bit of a guideline where we need to be, but I'm just going to take some of the brown paints. This area here is like another roof like that, but we just need to try and square this off and bring it back into line. Even though it looked okay on the sketch, you never know what it's going to be like until you start putting paint down on canvas. So I'm going to spend a few minutes just with the stonework colours, just trying to neaten this up. Then I'll go across where all the stone parts need to be, and placing some windows, just like we did with that one, really. A little bit of thin oil on this just helps allow some of these details to slide right off this brush. There we go. It's so tricky. So tricky. You don't want to do that. So hold your breath while painting this. Most of the tight work's done. We're going to have some tight work there because I've got a wall coming in. I've got a little bit of an idea down here as well. Okay, but most of the tight work's done. I can't wait to get onto some foliage. Okay, I really can't. But we're going to work on the clock now, and I want to make it a little bit special. I want the time to actually read the actual time of the wedding, the ceremony, and without getting the invite out from the house. I can't remember exactly what time it is, but I know a guy who does.
Now then, how you doing? So this is a shout out to my man MasterTemple. Alright, he's doing me a little bit of a favour. I'm doing one of his absolutely amazing paintings. Sophie doesn't know about this. She can hear me right now and she's thinking what is going on, but he's doing me a solid as Jan. So, can you paint on it, please? 11 o'clock. Alright, that'll be great. Thank you, mate.
Oh, cheers for that, Danny. That's brilliant of you. Thank you. Right, so what I've done is I've basically put the clock dial in there, and you don't have to really go into too much detail. Remember, this is quite far away. You won't be able to see that much of the numbers and things. I'll let the viewer decide whether they can make out the numbers or not. But I put a little bit of yellow ochre as well for the little bit of gold trim that the clock face has. Now I've got a little bit of black. Now I've got to be careful. I don't want to smudge any of the minster. Up here should be okay because we can just blend it out. But we're going to go straight down from 12 to the middle there, like that. Okay, then up towards 11 o'clock with a little hand. There, like that, 11 o'clock. Happy days. So the clock's all in place and all the tight work on the Minster is all done. Okay, now apparently Sophie doesn't know about this, and so hopefully it's a nice surprise for her, and she'll enjoy it. We will come back to the church and do a few other bits and pieces, but we're going to concentrate on some freer flowing things now, and the foliage in the foreground here. I've redone the wall a little bit, and so what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a little bit of yellow. We're going to put some grasses down here. Now there is bushes and grasses and things like that down here, but sometimes they change, depending on what the council want to do or anything like that. But I'm just going to tap in some of this yellow, this mixture of yellow ochre and chromium yellow. I'm going to tap this in, go up to the church. Now this hopefully will push the church back. Okay, obviously there's a road between the church and this area of foliage. Just like that. Now as I'm tapping this in, I'm going to tell you a little bit of a story about when me and Danny went on holiday. And we went on holiday to Norfolk. Now, Danny's parents and my parents both had caravans. On the same site. And we were down there. We were probably around about, I don't know, about 20 years of age, something like that. And we were all around having a barbecue, my folks, Dan's folks, and all that lot. We're having a bit of a barbecue, a few beers flowing, and Dan's dad says, "Right, I'm off to the shop. I'm off to get some scratch cards. Who wants one? Pound in. I'll get some scratch cards, and whatever we win, we'll share between us." And I thought, "Oh, brilliant, yeah." So I chipped a quid in. My wife chipped a quid in. My parents threw, we all threw a quid in. Dan's folks put a quid in. Dan put a quid in. And Big J came back with the scratch cards. We sat round, and of course we'd had a few sherbets, a few pops, and that. And we sat in a big circle, and it starts off, each scratching one off. I think my brothers were there as well, and their families, and we're all scratching off. It gets to me, and I scratch mine off, and I think collectively we were about 20 quid so far. Right, so it gets to me, and I scratch one off, scratch another things off, and hold on, here I'm on for 100 grand here, and I scratched the third section off. 100 grand, I'd 100 grand, like that. I started jumping about and shouting, and I even stripped off. And all this time, my mum is taking photographs of this, and everyone's laughing. And I thought, they're laughing because we're all rich. I don't have to drive back to Yorkshire in that shitty Skoda, But that's another story. But yeah, so I tried to come to terms with it. I ran off, shaking £100,000, and Danny's mum, Tony, says, "Just read the back. How do you claim this money? How do you claim this money?" So I read the back, and basically it said, it said, to claim this money, you've got to speak to the tooth fairy. And if the tooth fairy is not available, leave a message with Santa Claus. Basically, you've been mugged, you've been done. You're, and they were all in on it. I thought I was rich. I thought I could get a new car. Collectively, probably about 6 grand each. That'd have been ace. 6 grand a piece, and but it wasn't to be. But it was good fun, and they're the typical things that we used to get up to, and yeah, and the barbecue were pretty good as well, but brilliant stuff. Right, so I've just thrown in some yellow paint. Now I can come back in here and darken that off with some sap green and a little bit of ochres and things. I just want to sneak this part. We're going to have a little bush tree, something like that. I'm thinking Yorkshire roses are out at this time, so We might get a couple of Yorkshire roses popped down here. I don't know, something like that. All right, okay. So I got a lot of grass put down last night, and I'm just going to work on some of these trees now over in these corners before we work on the path, and a little bit of a nice sign there, and a little bit of a Yorkshire rose bush there, you know. So I've put some new colours out as well. Well, fresh colour. Tried to scrape the palette clean. So I've got a bit of brown and a bit of green just there on this nice big rounded brush. And I'm going to just tap in, and I start away from where I want to be. So I want to be obviously over near the Minster. But I want to start away from it, get the feel of the brush right, and then work into where I need to be. Just like that. Now these are going to be smallish kind of shrubs there like that. I don't want to go too much higher than that, and then work my way up, getting less paint on the brush as I'm working in. But I'm really tapping in hard, a lot of paint on the brush. I want all those little pinholes that are left by the canvas covered and completely filled. A bit of light green now on some of these that are gonna pop. Just like that. Wow. It is kind of nice having a little bit of colour all over the canvas, not big patches of bare white canvas. We are going to have a nice little Yorkshire rose bush just there, and I'm going to, on this little flag thing there, this little banner, we're going to put a nice little message. We've also got to put the flagpole at the top of the Minster, but I just want to make sure that it's relatively dry. And I am going to fetch the grass down a little bit here, just make the path a little bit tighter towards the entrance there and wider down at the bottom. It'll give another depth and distance sort of look. But we're going to put a little bit of shadow in this path now, so I'm going to mix up a little bit of a dark purpley colour on this stiff little round brush, and I'm just going to sneak in here and then just pull out just from the wall, nice and flat. Remember, there's light's coming mainly from this side. There's a lot of light everywhere in this picture, but we just want some of this purplish shadow colour out there. Now you can spend ages trying to get this to replicate the wall itself, but I'm just going to pull it out just like this and see where we go with it like that. I'm going to put another darker colour on top of this, and then another couple of highlights at this side as well. So we'll just have to see how it goes. A couple of minutes just tinkering with the shadows and the highlights on the path. Happy days. Okay, we've got a little bit of foliage down here, and this is the ideal spot to put some Yorkshire roses. So I'm going to pick an area. I'm not going to put too much. I'm not going to overload this area with, and I'm going to be careful. I've got paint all over my hands already. I'm just going to put a little bit of flower. Remember, Yorkshire rose got 5 main petals, so we'll just put a couple in there. That. So, and then it's got a nice yellow. It's got a nice. Can't even remember what it's called. The place where the honey bees land. So we'll just put a couple of little, also called dog roses, I think, as well. We'll put 1 or 2 in. So this is just white and off blue. It's just off white, really. And of course, it'll mix with a bit of that green that's under there as well, but not too much. White is such an opaque colour. And they all don't have to be perfect. Don't have to be perfect at all. We'll put 1 up there as well. Got something for the bees to land on. Just a little touch of ochre in some of these. Just like that. A little bit of yellow ochre. And I've got a touch of cad yellow on there as well. Don't miss any out. Actually, doesn't matter if you do. Look like the bees have already been there, yeah? It's a bit late for daffodils and all that lot now, but I'm sure there's some nice yellow flowers going about in a nice little park like this. Inside a nice big minster. Like that. A bit darker down at the base. Like that. Beautiful. Hey, this is hold your breath time. Hold that there. I know how to spell, mister. You know how Mrs. Right, come on. Nice and gentle. Not happy with the spacing, so a brush with the tiniest amount of paint cleaner on, paint thinner, and rub it off. And of course, it'll look like shadows and stuff like that. What I've got is a little bit. I want to put a little bit of a sparkle on this path here, and a little bit of extra hidden detail, and something that'll catch the light every now and again. So I've got some really thinned out oil paint, and it's titanium white, yellow ochre, and just a touch of crimson, just spraying it off this palette knife, so it gives like a little gravelly effect just down here. Okay, I really don't want to go into that flag. That was tight work. That really was hard. I mean, I can spell, spell Mister every day, but it was tight work. But worth it, worth it. Definitely worth it. So I'm just going to spend a few minutes just gently putting a little bit of gravel just down here on this path. 2 little flowers just down there in that little bush, and I think we're about done. Wow, that is one epic painting of Leeds Minster, and the clock is set 11 o'clock, ready for the wedding day. Okay, I'm going to sign this one, so a little bit of thin oil and a bit of bright red and magenta mix, and I'm going to sneak my signature in just in this flower bed there, and I'll obviously write a little something nice on the back of the canvas for Danny and Sophie. But if you've enjoyed this one, please give me a big old thumbs up. Just bearing in mind, I've never had one single art lesson. All I did was read books, watch YouTube videos, watch a few videos, and here we go. Practice. Leave me a nice comment as well. In fact, in the comments, congratulate Danny and Sophie on their wedding day, and subscribe to the channel if you've not done so already. It really does help us out. But until next time, you take care, stay safe, happy days. I'm going to go get my suit on, and we're going to have a party. I see thee.